Not many royal families have a rags-to-riches tale as captivating as the House of Saud. Did you know that this family, which is now a global oil giant building a trillion-dollar city project, had started as a small desert family? Their history will shock you. The House of Saud reigns over the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, one of the last absolute monarchies in the world. Their extensive wealth and power shape the politics and economy of Saudi Arabia. But before their meteoric rise, the House of Saud's history is marked by internal strife and power struggles, involving significant bloodshed within the family. Watch till the end of this video to discover how this trillion-dollar family transformed their deserts into realms of luxury and affluence, reaching unprecedented levels of wealth today. The House of Saud traces its roots back to Prince Mohammed ibn Saud, who ruled over the small central Arabian town of Diriyah in the mid-1700s. Forming an alliance with the exiled theologian Abd al-Wahhab, who advocated for the purification of Islam and a return to its conservative roots, Prince Mohammed laid the foundation for the family's ascent. In exchange for endorsing al-Wahhab's austere form of Islam, the Al Saud family, led by Mohammed ibn Saud, gained political legitimacy and received regular tithes from al-Wahhab's followers. This religious political alliance, forged in the 1700s, still stands strong in present-day Saudi Arabia. Merging religion and state, this alliance expanded its influence across Central Arabia, seizing control of pivotal locations like the oasis town of Riyadh. Mohammed ibn Saud became the emir of this newly formed state, known as the First Saudi State. Upon Mohammed ibn Saud's death in 1765, his son Abdulaziz bin Mohammed al Saud assumed power. Leading the armed forces, Abdulaziz expanded the empire, incorporating a vast expanse of Arabia. While he held official authority, Abd al-Wahhab retained significant civil influence as the leader of what essentially amounted to a religious revolution. Despite al-Wahhab's death in 1792, his conservative form of Islam continued to be propagated by various imams or religious teachers. The House of Saud, translated from al-Saud, represents an Arabic dynastic name formed by adding the word al, meaning family of or house of, to the personal name of an ancestor. In this case, the ancestor is Saud ibn Muhammad ibn Mukhrin, the father of the dynasty's 18th century founder, Mohammed bin Saud. The surname al-Saud is inherited by any descendant of Mohammed bin Saud or his three brothers, namely Farhan, Thuniyan and Mishari. Other family branches, such as Saud al-Kabir, al-Jalui, al-Tunayan, al-Mishari and al-Farhan, are referred to as cadet branches. Although members of these cadet branches do not hold positions in the line of succession to the Saudi throne, they occupy influential roles in the government. Intermarriage within the Al Saud is common among cadet members to maintain their lineage and influence in the government. Every male member of the royal family carries the title of Emir, Prince. However, sons and patrilineal grandsons of kings are addressed as His Royal Highness, HRH, while patrilineal great-grandsons and cadet branch members are called His Highness, or HH. The reigning king also holds the additional title of custodian of the two holy mosques. The earliest recorded ancestor of the Al Saud, Mani ibn Rabia al-Muraidi, who settled in Diriyah in 1446 to 1447 with his clan, the Mruda. The Mruda are believed to be a descendant of the Banu Hanifa branch of the larger Rabia tribal confederation. The Banu Hanifa played a significant role in shaping the Middle East and Arabia from the 6th century, producing notable theologians like Maslama ibn Habib. In 1902, a direct descendant of Mohammed ibn Saud, 20-year-old Abd al-Aziz ibn Saud, emerged from the desert with 60 of his brothers and cousins to reinstate the rule of Al Saud. Capturing Riyadh, the ancient capital of the Saudi kingdom, he sought the assistance of nomadic Bedouins known as the Ikhwan, or Muslim Brothers, to conquer the entire Arabian Peninsula. The Ikhwan were renowned warriors and fervent Wahhabi Islamic Puritans, with the aim of spreading their form of Islam throughout the Middle East. With the Ikhwan as his allies, Abd al-Aziz embarks on a conquest, capturing province after province in the vast desert. His triumph includes the capture of Mecca in 1924 and Medina in 1925, establishing his rule over the two holy cities of Islam. However, the Ikhwan, driven by the desire to spread Wahhabism beyond Arabia, rebels when Abd al-Aziz attempts to restrain them. Faced with this rebellion, Abd al-Aziz realizes that survival requires him to dismantle the Ikhwan. Yet, as a defender of Islam, he grapples with the moral dilemma of justifying war against his fellow Muslim warriors. Seeking approval from the Ulama, the religious authorities deemed the moral guardians of the realm, Abd al-Aziz gains their endorsement and successfully crushes the Ikhwan. He proclaims himself king and names the country Saudi Arabia. To maintain unity in his new kingdom, he strategically marries daughters from various tribes and influential clerical families, forming unions with more than 20 wives, adhering to the Quran's guidance of not exceeding 4 wives at a time. These marriages result in 45 legitimate sons and an unspecified number of daughters. Abd al-Aziz proceeds to consolidate power away from the brothers and cousins who assisted in conquering the peninsula, favouring his own sons. Every Saudi king since then has been a son of Abd al-Aziz ibn Saud. Diplomatic relations were established between Saudi Arabia and the US, and in 1933 the first foreign oil prospectors arrived in the kingdom. Paying $170,000 in gold for land concessions, the Americans discover the world's largest oil fields. Despite criticism suggesting that involving foreigners is un-Islamic, King Abd al-Aziz invites US oil companies to develop Saudi oil resources. A joint enterprise is formed, later becoming the Arabian American Oil Company, Aramco, with shareholders including America's 4 largest oil corporations. By 1945, the US urgently required oil facilities for the Second World War, and King Abd al-Aziz prioritized security. President Franklin Roosevelt invites the king to the USS Quincy, docked in the Suez Canal, where they solidify a secret oil for security pact. The agreement assures the US secure access to Saudi oil, and in return, the US commits to providing military assistance and training to Saudi Arabia, along with constructing the Dhahran military base. Discussions during the meeting also touch upon the creation of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. King Abd al-Aziz, while acknowledging the plight of the Jews, argues against the idea, deeming it unfair to the Palestinians. In a letter following their meeting, President Roosevelt assured the king that he will not take any action hostile to the Arab people. However, Roosevelt passed away shortly after sending this letter, leading to Vice President Harry Truman assuming the presidency. Before his death in 1953, King Abd al-Aziz designates his eldest son, Prince Saud, as the next king and appoints his second son, Prince Faisal, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. However, Prince Saud's reign proves ineffective, marked by governance neglect and financial misuse. In the late 1950s, King Abd al-Aziz's youngest son, Prince Talal, initiated a movement for political reform in the kingdom. In 1958, he proposed a new Saudi constitution to establish a national consultative council, a step towards a constitutional monarchy. King Saud rejected his proposal, leading to Prince Talal's removal from his position as transport minister in 1961. From exile in Egypt and Lebanon, Prince Talal announces the formation of a royal opposition group called the Free Princes, compromising some of his full brothers and other educated Saudis. They advocate for political reform, but their efforts remain unsuccessful. By the early 60s, King Saud loses support and brings the country close to economic collapse. the senior Al Saud brothers realize the need for change and seek the Aluma's approval, receiving a fatwa sanctioning Saud's abdication in favor of his half-brother Faisal. King Saud and his entourage quietly leave the country, and he spends his final years in exile in Athens, Greece, passing away in 1969. King Faisal implements a modernization program, emphasizing economic development and educational improvements. During his reign, oil revenues surged by over 1,600%, allowing Faisal to build a robust communications and transportation infrastructure and establish a generous welfare system for all citizens. Even today, Saudi citizens do not pay taxes. However, nearly every facet of modernization sparks conflict between the king and the religious establishment. For the Aluma, any form of innovation poses a threat to Islam. In an attempt to appease the conservatives, King Faisal transforms Saudi Arabia into a refuge for extremist Muslims from Egypt and Syria, where their governments are clamping down on fundamentalist scholars and professionals. Faisal invites these individuals to impart their teachings to Saudi Arabia's youth, a decision that will have profound and enduring consequences, as many of today's Saudi radicals received their education under Egyptian and Syrian fundamentalists. Partly due to his reputation as a devout Muslim, Faisal manages to implement cautious social reforms, including initiatives for female education. In 1965, he grants approval for the first television broadcast within the kingdom, featuring a recitation of the Quran. However, this move triggers a significant protest by religious conservatives. When a new nephew of the king is killed during the protesting clashes with the police, King Faisal takes no action against the law enforcement officers. Unfortunately, this decision leads to disastrous consequences later on. On the morning of March 25th, King Faisal's past catches up with him. During a meeting with Kuwait's petroleum minister, one of the king's nephews, Faisal ibn Musaid, enters the room. Given that his brother has been killed by the police during the 1965 protest against television, Ibn Musaid shoots and kills the king. The assassination is a violent shock, particularly because the perpetrator is a member of the royal family. Following his father's decree, King Faisal is succeeded by his half-brother, Prince Khalid, who assumes the position of the fourth king of Saudi Arabia. During King Khalid's reign, Saudi Arabia experienced an influx of hundreds of billions in oil revenue. The small population, estimated at 4 million with only 500,000 legitimate males, struggles to absorb such immense wealth. The government embarks on a frenzied phase of acquisition and construction, attracting a surge of foreign contractors. Notably, the Bin Ladens emerged as principal builders for the Al Saud family, accumulating significant wealth during these prosperous years. The House of Saud are named for their immense wealth even to this day. The House of Saud are known for their immense wealth even to this day. In June 2015, Forbes ranked businessman Prince alwaleed bin Talal, a grandson of Abdulaziz, the first king of Saudi Arabia, as the 34th richest man globally, estimating his net worth at $22.6 billion. Comprising 15,000 family members, though the majority of the wealth is held in about 2,000 of them, the House of Saud is estimated to be worth $1.4 trillion, nearly 16 times the net worth of the British royal family. Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, known by his initials MBS, holds the positions of Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia. Additionally, he serves as the chairman of the Council of Economic and Development Affairs and the chairman of the Council of Political and Security Affairs. Widely considered the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia, he held this status even before his appointment as Prime Minister in 2022. He served as Minister of Defense from 2015 to 2022 and is the seventh son of King Salman. In 2018, Forbes ranked him as the 8th most powerful person globally, with a personal wealth of at least $25 billion. In 2015, Mohammed acquired the Italian-built and Bermuda-registered yacht Serene from Russian vodka tycoon Yuri Shefler for €500 million. The same year, he purchased the Chateau Louis XIV in France for over $300 million. In December 2017, multiple sources reported that Mohammed, using his close associate Prince Badr bin Abdullah bin Mohammed Al Farhan as an intermediary, had acquired Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci. The sale in November at $450.3 million set a new record price for a work of art. However, this report has been denied by the auctioneer Christie's, the Saudi Arabian embassy, and the UAE government, which has announced ownership of the painting. The exact current location of the painting is unknown, with some suggesting it may be housed on Mohammed's yacht, Serene. Saudi Aramco, officially known as the Saudi Arabian Oil Company, stands as the world's largest oil producer, serving as a pivotal economic force in the kingdom and the primary financial source for the ruling Al Saud royal family, which retains 94% ownership of the company. Valued at just under $2 trillion, Saudi Aramco ranks amongst the world's most valuable companies, sharing the spotlight with industry giants like Apple and Microsoft. Presently, it is reaping the benefits of a surge in oil prices, currently trading above $90 per barrel, marking the highest level since 2014. Initially, under strict government control and inaccessible to external investment, Saudi Aramco underwent a transformation as part of Crown Prince Salman's ambitious reform initiative, Vision 2030, which aimed to diversify the kingdom's economy. In a groundbreaking move in December 2019, Aramco offered a small fraction of its shares on the Saudi Stock Exchange, resulting in a record-breaking $29.4 billion in the world's largest initial public offering. Utilizing the generated funds, Crown Prince Salman is spearheading investments across various sectors, seeking to diminish the nation's reliance in oil revenue, especially in the face of global concerns regarding climate change induced by fossil fuels. Moody's Investors Service reported a substantial growth in the fund's assets, reaching $412 billion in 2020, a significant rise from the $152 billion in 2015. The fund's diverse portfolio includes investments in prominent entities such as Uber, the British soccer team Newcastle United, electric car manufacturer Lucid Motors Incorporated, based in Newark, California, and the visionary NEOM Sustainable City project along the Red Sea coast. NEOM emerges as a city of staggering dimensions, envisioned as a $500 billion undertaking that will span 263,000 hectares, roughly equivalent to the size of a modest English county. However, not all of this extensive land will be allocated for human habitation, as a significant portion has been designed for natural preservation. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has set aside a sector in northwest Saudi Arabia for this monumental project, strategically positioned near the Suez Canal and in proximity to the borders of Jordan and Egypt. Its coastal accessibility positions it as a potential trading port, with optimistic expectations of attracting industrial and commercial ventures. The day-to-day operations have been entrusted to Chief Executive Nadmi Al-Nasir, who assumed leadership in 2018. A distinctive feature of NEOM is its commitment to being a car-free city, leveraging robots to assist residents in their daily activities. The overarching objective is to cultivate a community of 9 million individuals who can conveniently access all of their necessities within a short walking distance. The city will include the Octagon, the world's largest floating structure, extending into the Red Sea. Additionally, a 105-mile linear city known as the Line is planned, preserving 95% of the surrounding nature and intended to accommodate 1 million residents. The project envisions ambitious transformations, including cloud seeding machines inducing artificial rain, the creation of the world's largest corral garden, and sand that glows in the dark. With an estimated cost of $500 billion, the funding for NEOM is sourced from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, the Public Investment Fund, of which Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman serves as chairman. This same wealth fund has played a pivotal role in the substantial growth of the Saudi Pro League, attracting some of the most renowned footballers worldwide. Clearly, the House of Saud, with Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud on the helm, is on a mission to transform their once arid home into a hub for tourists from any parts of the world. Now, if you thought that was interesting, click on the next video on your screen for more videos like this one. And if there's a family you'd like us to discuss, drop the name in the comments section.